Guys, what's happening? Welcome to today's video. If you've been around my channel for any length of time, you know I love me some good audio. I'm an audio guy, and I think that audio is super important when it comes to your videos. Now, there's a lot of tools and tips and tricks that I use with my own audio that I'd like to share with you guys because I want your videos and your projects to come out sounding awesome too. Because if they don't sound awesome, let's be honest, nobody's going to want to watch it or listen to it, right? So one of those tools that I use is plugins from Waves. And this is not a sponsored video. I just want to share with you guys some of the things that I do and some of the tools that I use just to make my audio awesome. So if you're not familiar with Waves, they create plugins for the audio world. And a lot of their plugins are geared towards music. They're some of the best plugins that you can get for music and audio, and I've been lucky enough to be able to work with them and try out a lot of these plugins and share some of them with you guys already. There's a lot of them that I use that I think are really cool, but Waves is changing the way that they're doing things, and you used to be able to buy things a la carte, and now they're going to a subscription model where you can pay either monthly or yearly and get a whole lot of plugins. They've got two different packages that you can pick from. They have the Waves Essential Pack, which is going to give you 110 audio plugins. 110. That's a lot of audio plugins. And that'll cost you $14.99 a month US dollars here, or you could pay $149 for the year. Or if you want to go all out and you want to get all those Waves plugins, because they're all awesome. I mean, honestly, everything I've tried from Waves is phenomenal. If you want all of them, you can go with the Waves Ultimate Bundle, which will run you about $24.99 a month. So in the Essential Pack, you can get 110 of them. That's a lot of plugins, man. Or in the Ultimate Pack, you get over 220. And both of those categories, they'll have new plugins added in over time. You'll get all the updates. Everything's included with that new subscription service. So really cool that you can have access to a whole wide range of plugins that you might find helpful for your videos. So not only that, but Waves also came up with a really cool tool called the STUDIOVERSE. STUDIOVERSE, I know, sounds crazy, right? So what's the STUDIOVERSE? Well, I'm gonna show you what it is in DaVinci Resolve in a second here, but what it is allows you to create a chain, say vocal chain, right? So when I'm editing my audio here in DaVinci Resolve, maybe I wanna put on a compressor, maybe I want an EQ plugin, maybe, there's a sibilance plugin that kinda is like a de-esser or removes harsh sounds, and I wanna kinda layer them up, right? Well, I can create a preset for that, and then I can put it on the STUDIOVERSE, and you guys can go download the exact same set of presets or set of plugins or chain of plugins that I use and just drop it in your project, try it out, maybe make a little few tweaks here and there, and then you can have the same audio that I got. So I'm gonna actually be posting a bunch of vocal chains here on their website when things are up and running that you guys can go and download. And let's say that, for example, maybe you just have, some audio tracks and you're not sure what to do. The STUDIOVERSE will listen to those tracks and then recommend a vocal chain or a chain of effects or plugins for your video. That's pretty wild. I mean, this AI stuff, nowadays is getting pretty crazy, you know what I mean? So let's just jump into Resolve. I'm gonna kind of just show you how it works a little bit. And again, this video is not sponsored. It's really just to give you guys more information about how I work with audio and things that you can consider when you're trying to work with your audio on, any project, big project, little project, doesn't matter. I'm just trying to give you guys the information here and, let you guys make an informed decision on the tools you need in order to get the best product, the best videos created, and just really get them out to your audience, whoever that might be. Let's jump into Resolve. I'm gonna show you a little bit about this STUDIOVERSE and how it all works. All right, so we are jumping into Resolve here. Now, before you get into Resolve, make sure you've gone ahead and, picked up whatever Waves package that you want there, whether it's the Waves Essentials, the 110 plugins, or you wanted the Waves Ultimate deal there, the 220 plus plugins there. You want to have that installed before you open up Resolve and get going. If you need help on how to get that stuff installed, I do have a video about it. I'll link it up over here. You can check that out. But let's say you got all that installed, you're ready to go. So what you need to do, right now I'm in the Edit tab. What you need to do is jump into Fairlight. So right here, musical notes at the bottom, let's get into Fairlight. So the first thing that we need to do in order to start working with some of these cool vocal chains and download some from artists you might know, or if you guys want to download any from me once I make some, here's how you're going to do it. The first thing we need to do is put on a effect onto our channel or our track that's called a studio rack. And what this is just a way to have multiple plugins kind of in a rack together, right? Keep them all together in like one plugin. So to do that, we want to have our mixer open, and we're going to come down to our mixer, and on the track that you want to work with here, we are going to click the plus for the effects. Now for me, if I come on down to uncategorized VST, that's where my studio rack is. If you're in Resolve, it should be there. If you're in a different DAW or different audio program, it may be somewhere a little bit different, so you'll just have to take a look for it. But right here, Studio Rack, I'm gonna go ahead and click on that. Then it's gonna open up this, and this is what the Studio Rack looks like. So you've got a bunch of different options along the top here. You can go redo, undo, forward, next, to cycle through some of the presets here. You've got A/B settings, so you can do 2 different settings here for your effects or your chain that you're trying to work with. You've got a setup A, a setup B. You can save it, and then if we click on this little drop down, you notice we already have some presets in here from some various artists. And if we go ahead and click on any one of them, for example, let's come down to vocals, and let's just say easy clean vocal. I'm going to click on that. And it's going to load up a preset for us. And if we take a look at this bottom section here, we can see we have the rack, which is where all of our effects live, right? We can put the effects, the plugin effects, in any order that we want here. We can turn them on and off by clicking the little blue button. We can open them up by clicking on it, and it'll just go ahead and open up the effect for us, and we can make any changes that we want in there. We can move the effects if we want by just click, hold, drag it down, and we can drop it somewhere else in our chain. And keep in mind, depending on where you put these different effects, they're gonna have a different effect on your audio. So wherever you place that plugin is going to have a different effect on your audio. You know, if you have EQ before dynamics, or, you know, a gate before, you know, your EQ, whatever it might be, it's going to change the way that things sound. So you can move those around if you want. You can also add in any of the plugins that are part of your package, and you can create your own different chains here, whether it's for vocals, music, or whatever it might be. And you can do that by clicking on the plus, and then you're going to have all of your plugins here from Waves that go with your package, whether it's the Ultimate bundle there or whether it's the Essentials bundle. You'll see those available here for you, and you can search for them or whatever. You just pick the ones that you want and pop them in there in the order that you want. Now, if you're not familiar with the Studio Rack here, there's other tools like, you know, being able to adjust your gains and stuff. You've got the macros where you can set up specific parts of specific plugins to just be able to change real quick with a dial here, so that you can just tweak it really quickly and easily. And then you can see all of them here, everything together, and kind of see what you have as part of your chain. And then all the way on the right here, you can adjust your levels coming out of the vocal rack here. Now you might be thinking, well, what's the difference between this and just putting all of my plugins, you know, in the effects area here in Resolve or one of your other DAW programs? Well, I think this gives you a little bit more control, being able to kind of change things, move things around. You can put things together in different ways by using some of the parallel and multi, what do they call it? Parallel and, hold on, I got to hit the plus here. Parallel splits and multiband splits. So it's going to give you more options on how you can apply these different plugins. So just a lot more options. I'm not going to dig into all that kind of stuff now, but I'm sure there's information out there. You Google a little bit and you'll be able to see what that stuff's all about. Check out the Waves website. It explains it there on how all these things work within the Studio Rack here. Now, I've also saved a few presets on my own. So if I come here, for example, JY Dialogue, I've got the CLA 2A compressor on there. I've got the CLA vocals, where I work with a little bit of the bass end and the treble a little bit. And then I've got some sibilance, which is going to kind of take out some of the harsh sounds that are, typically in my dialogue. And I'm going to come up with a bunch of these that you guys can download and try as well if you decide to pick up, any of the Waves packages here. So on the top here, if we take a look, we have STUDIOVERSE. So right here, we've got the options to be able to search for something. So if we say, let's say we're looking for vocal chains, right? We can search for vocals. I'm going to hit enter. And now it brings up all these different chains that are pre-created by various artists that you can download and then try out. For example, let's say I want to go with the CLA vocal strip, right? The Chris Loredalgi vocal strip. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. You click the little download button, and boom, it's going to pop it all right into my Studio Rack here, and I can work with it, play with it. I can come in, I can just see how it does on my clip. For example, let's turn it off. So this is a little on-off button here. You can use that, or I can turn the whole thing off like this right here. So let's just go ahead and turn it off. I'm going to play through and then just turn it on. You can hear the difference. Here's what it sounds like. And you used to be able to buy things a la carte, and now they're going to a subscription model where you can pay either monthly or yearly and get a whole... Okay, so there you go. You can hear what it did. Now, in that case, it did add in some reverb and echo and delay maybe. And, obviously, in a voiceover or the kind of videos that I make, I'm not going to want that. This is probably more geared towards a singing vocal, but it's still cool. You can still take the elements of this and I can just turn off the parts that I don't want, which is no problem, right? I can turn off any of the echoes or the delays if I want to. So pretty cool. You can just come into the STUDIOVERSE here and just search for whatever it might be you're looking for, find a vocal chain, drop it in, boom, you're good to go. Make some tweaks, make some changes, but it gives you a great starting point. Now, if I want to just reset the whole thing, I'm going to come here and go full reset. So it'll clear everything out for me. Now, if you take a look at this button, it's going to search by audio. This is pretty cool. So if I play through my clip and I click on this button, it should look through everything that's on the STUDIOVERSE there, use some crazy AI stuff to figure out what is going on either musically or vocally in my clip. And then it should recommend some vocal chains that might work out pretty good. So I'm going to hit this. I'm going to play through my clip and let's see what it comes up with. Whole lot of plugins. They've got 2 different packages that you can pick from. All right, so check that out. So it went through and it discovered that I'm a male vocal, and that's the results that it gave me when I'm looking through chains that I could try. And a lot of these, again, they might be geared towards, working with music and singing, but there's also ones that have to do with voiceover or narration maybe, but you can always just try some of these, and then you can always go in easily and turn off any delay or reverb or things like that you don't want in your, your voiceovers or your just dialogue speaking. So I could pick one and, I don't know, let's scroll through, find one that looks kind of good. Let's say, for example, I want this one, a telephone voice. I can just go click on that. It's going to download it, load it up, and here's what the telephone voice sounds like.
Now they're going to a subscription model where you can pay either monthly.
Right? That's great. And let's say you didn't want the delay. I can come in here, I can turn off the delay, turn off the reverb.
Or yearly and get a whole lot of plugins.
And there you go. It's just as easy as that. You can really just take some of these great chains that are already created by awesome artists who really know their stuff and know what they're doing, and then we can just tweak it and modify it so that it works for our videos here, whether you're making them for YouTube, a feature film, whatever it might be. These plugins from Waves, they're top notch. They are some of the best in the industry, and being able to use the STUDIOVERSE here is just going to allow you to borrow some of that wealth of knowledge from amazing creators that are already out there creating this stuff, and that could just help us create awesome audio for our videos too. Now, once I get some of my chains up on the STUDIOVERSE here, you should be able to come in here and probably just search my name and find them that way. I'll let you guys know how that works out once I get some up there, but really, really cool system here that Waves has put together between the Studio Rack and the STUDIOVERSE and AI helping figure out what would be best for your clips. Really cool stuff here. I mean, you could spend all day looking through these plugins, trying things out, and really just trying to get awesome audio. And one tip here, sometimes, and a lot of times, less is more. Okay, you don't need to go throw tons of plugins at your audio, at your dialogue, at your voiceovers. You don't need to throw tons of plugins at it to try and make it something crazy. Sometimes all you need is a basic EQ, maybe a little compression, boom, you're good to go, right? There's things like the Greg Wells effect here that does a good job. It's one dial on one plugin, and that can really help tune up your dialogue and your voiceovers really easily and just, make it sound better and help take it to that next level. Guys, there you go. Some sweet new tools here from Waves. This new STUDIOVERSE thing is pretty cool. And like I mentioned, I'm going to be putting out some chains for you guys that you can check out if you're interested. You'll be able to search for them and download them. I'll make some posts or a video when they're up and available. But then you'll be able to use the exact same chains and plugins that I use if you're interested in trying that out. Or if you want to get chains from any other awesome artists that created all kinds of stuff, especially if you're into music production, there's a ton of great stuff there. But it also is going to work great for our dialogue here in DaVinci Resolve, as well as any other thing that you might be using here in Resolve. Sound effects, music, whatever it might be. These plugins can really help take your audio from here to there, to that next level. So I'll leave some links in the description below. You guys can check them out if you're interested. And with that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to go edit this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. All right, guys, take care. Peace.